Hi, this is another episode of Biotechnology Exposed. Now, as I've told you in the past, the need for a better method of making biologics is because it's the most expensive way to make anything, anytime, anywhere, ever. Biologics cost 72 times more to produce than regular pharmaceutical drugs, and it's because of the method of production. Everything about the method of production is beyond costly. It is absurd. So we'll go on with it now. Now, in the last episode I told you about the need for the industry to find somebody, a private company, which happened to be Viragen, to progress, or seemingly progress, this new method of making biologics and pretty well keep under the radar. So they basically drafted a scientist from the University of Georgia, Robert Ivory, and told him, you're going to progress this, even though you really don't have any experience in the avian transgenic area. So that was in 1996, the start of Viragen. And to assist Viragen, they had Dr. Helen Sang of the Roslin Institute, who has been working and had been working on avian transgenics since probably the late 80s, early 90s. She is the acknowledged expert on poultry and bird transgenics. So she was on the advisory board of Viragen. But they also needed a public face of this project. And they needed to find a company that fulfilled three different criteria. One was to be the public face of failure of this project. That they would work with the Roslin Institute and eventually go out of business. So how important could this project be if it resulted in failure of this publicly traded company that was supposedly working with Roslin Institute and Helen Sang on it? So they also needed to put a timestamp on it as of 2001, even though this project has really been worked on since the late 80s. But it's been intentionally delayed because they were making billions of dollars off this. And they also had to find a company that had a promising drug that the industry wanted to also suppress, and also perhaps have Viragen work on that. So these three criteria were met by a company called Viragen. Now, Viragen was a small biotech company up to that point, but after that they became a sham, a fraud, whatever you want to call it, because they were just put up by the industry, and they were made an offer they couldn't refuse, obviously. I'm sure a lot of people made millions of dollars on it, but you will be the public face of this project, making therapeutic proteins in the egg whites of chickens, and you will fail at it because you will go out of business. You will become bankrupt from 2000 to 2007 when it finally became bankrupt. And so I'll show you a little bit about the time frame and when they got this project. Okay, here you can see this is from a site called AnimalNet from back in the year 2000. Famous Scottish Institute revolutionized science with Dolly, unveils plans for life-saving drugs in chicken eggs. And you can see the date is December 6, 2000. Roslin Institute is highlighted. It's teaming up with Viragen to make the protein in the chicken eggs. Well, this is their official notice of working with a public company that was doomed for failure as per plan. And if you can see, Dr. Helen Sang, Roslin Institute's lead scientist on avian bird transgenics technology. And I'll tell you a little bit something later on about Dr. Helen Sang and who she worked for and what she did. And it just so happened the day before, on December 5th, 2000, you can read that headline there, highlighted in yellow. Viragen Incorporated announces key patent for the creation of transgenic poultry. Happened to be December 5th, the day before Viragen and Roslin started their collaboration. So by this time, in the 4 years from the start of Viragen in 1996 to December, Viragen had a transgenic chicken patent by then and a flock of transgenic chicken. And Dr. Helen Sang had been on the board of Viragen since its inception, and she happens to switch over to Viragen, who is behind on the project, which is sounds kind of strange, but was all part of the plan. So on December 6th of 2000, Roslin and Viragen announced their collaboration together. And nowhere in that announcement of the collaboration together did they say they had any dealings with each other before this partnership started. I think it was signed in November of 2000, supposedly. But as I said, this is from the December 3rd. Chickens become feathered pharmaceutical. I gotta move it up. See, December 3rd. Chickens become feathered pharmaceutical producers. And this is the second page of that. So here on the second page it says, Brittany the hen to be put on display by the Roslin Institute is the product of 2 years of development by the U.S. biotechnology firm Viragen of Plantation, Florida. So these early press releases had Viragen and Roslin working together as far back as 1998, and maybe even further back than that, with Helen Sang, who also happened to be working with Viragen and helped them produce a flock of transgenic chickens. So there's something wrong with this picture. Okay, so now we got the private company, Viragen, that is going to progress this project, and being fed information by Dr. Helen Sang, who is the real lead scientist, although it's supposedly Dr. Robert Ivory is the one that's progressing it for Viragen, but I don't think he really was. He was just fed information by Dr. Helen Sang, who is now working for Viragen, and they are now the public face of this project to make therapeutic proteins, biologics, vastly cheaper. And as I said, put a later time date on this as of 2000, like the project was started in 2001. Really, it's been worked on since the late 80s. But since the industry was making billions of dollars off the current method of production, they weren't in a hurry to embrace a vastly cheaper method of making these therapeutic protein biologics. So we have Viragen, we have Viragen, which is now Synergiva, and they're about to reap the profits and the windfalls of this new production method that will be adopted as part of HR 3200, which is the National Healthcare Bill, of which the Pathways to Biosimilar has been attached to. So next time we'll talk about Viragen. We'll talk about Dr. Helen Sang and her ties with both Viragen and Viragen. Talk to you next time. Bye.